Hello, what's up? Welcome back everybody on my YouTube channel. Today in this video we'll be going to talk about the Netcat, which is one of the famous network penetration testing tools. And in this video we're going to look at the very basics of the Netcat. So first of all, we will begin with the checking if the ports are open, port scanning, not actually scanning but actually checking for the port if that port is open on that IP or not. So for example, we're going to say NC-NLVP, which is going to listen on port 4444. So on my Kali machine, I'm going to try to check if the port 44444 is available on this system or not. For that, I'm going to say NC/NV, and this is going to say yes, the port is actually open. But to begin with, I'm trying to make a connection. So I'm going to say like, okay, so wait, my connection is going to say okay, try to connect again. And right, so this is some sort of connection between two machines. I can also write something and I get my response back. Hello, privacy. Which this actually works as a chat system, but yeah, we can use it as well on the network. But Netcat is far beyond this. We can use it for file transferring as well. On the second, you can also use it for reading the service banners or trying to connect to various services, whether it is a mail server, it is other services. We can also try to connect to that service with the Netcat. So when we're talking about the transferring of files via the Netcat, we can actually send both text and binary formats from one computer to another. In fact, the forensics investigators often use Netcat in conjunction with a disk copying utility to create the forensically sound disk images over a net. So to send a file, we're going to use a Kali machine, and to Windows system, we will try to locate Netcat.exe on this system, which is available as a Windows resource binary. So I'm going to say NC/NV, the IP address and the port, and which I'm going to use to send this to my. Okay, sorry. So I have to NC/NLVP on port 4444 incoming.exe. Alright, so I'm going to try it again actually, so that I could get the file. Yes, so there you can see that I've got the file, and from my Kali virtual machine to my Windows system, you can also use it for the file transfers as well. So let's check it out. Oh, I misspelled. Okay, yeah, it is a executable file that can be used in our Windows machine as well. So what we're going to do next is we can also do remote administration with Netcat. So we're going to talk about the remote administration with Netcat. When enabled, this option can redirect the input, output, and error messages of an executable to a TCP port rather than a default console. For example, consider a CMD executable by redirecting std in and std out, std error to the network, and we can bind the CMD to the local port. Anyone connecting to the port will be presented with the command prompt on the target computer to clarify. Let's do it with a scenario. So we're going to do is a Netcat bind shell scenario in our first scenario. So on our Windows machine, I have, okay, wait, IP config, I have an IP of 102.1.9, but I'm going to use, I'm going to say NC/NLVP4444. I'm going to /E, which is an option for the executable cmd.exe, and this is listening on the board 44444. What I'm going to say is I'm going to connect this on my Kali machine. I'm going to say IP address show ETH. So I guess I have H0 ETH grab, which is actually 25. Okay, I have the Windows version has bound the TCP port 444 to the cmd.exe on my computer. So what actually I am getting is a Windows shell on my desktop or my Kali machine, and I can also use dir to actually see that yes, I am in the directory from my Linux machine. I can also all of the input, output, and the error messages are redirected to my Kali network, and I'm getting all of the results. I can also use it as an input and output, and if any error messages would appear, it will also be shown in my console here. For example, I'll say ipconfig. I'm going to get the IP of my target machine. As you can see, and this is the same IP here. So this was the simple scenario. So in another scenario, if we talk about the reverse shell scenario, which is the second one, so we're going to use it this way. For example, just close this connection, clear it out, CLS. Okay, in Windows you can use CLS. So for example, for the reverse NLVP, I'm going to listen to the port 44444, and on the other hand, I'm going to just say netcat on the port 444 slash e. I'm going to say slash bin slash hash. uh, Once we use this slash e option to make an application available remotely, which in case happens to be the bin bash with the Linux shell. So what I'm going to say is so if the connection is established, uh, so once the connection is established, you are not going to get any output, because in the reverse shell you actually get the input output, but I guess not the error ones. But actually you can use it as a reverse shell. For example, this code to be sent to my Linux machine, and I can get all of the output from another machine on my Windows. So in the forward shell, we actually got the shell on my Linux, but in this reverse shell scenario, you can see that I have got shell on the listening side. So what I'm going to do is here, I just told to list the name of the directories, and it showed desktop. These are actually the Linux directories. So if I say ifconfig, I'm going to get the IP address of my Linux machine on my Windows CMD, which I got the shell inside. Bin bash is actually a uh, shell command for the Linux. It actually allows the system to access the shell of Linux to the listening port 44444. I can say IP address show ETH0, Ethernet 0, and grab net. So I'm going to get all the details. So with this diagram, it takes some time to consider the difference between uh, the bind and the reverse shell, and how these differences may apply to various firewall configurations from an organizational security standpoint. It is important to realize that outgoing traffic can be just as harmful as the incoming traffic. And this scenario and this video will be over here. In the next video, we'll be discussing other uh, network tools, and with that, we're going to end the network penetration testings. Okay, bye.